Since before I was even born, manned space exploration has sort of been on pause. We've sent machines to chase comets and even further, beyond our solar system. But in the 42 years since the last moon landing, humans have ventured no further than the outer layers of our atmosphere. But now, with new technologies and new resolve, finally we're starting to dream once more. And Mars is the next giant leap for mankind. With orbiters circling above and rovers trucking across the planet, Mars seems more familiar than ever before. But what do we really know about this planet hundreds of millions of kilometers away? And could its extreme environment really support human life? Geomorphologist Mary Bourke has been studying the active processes of the Martian landscape and comparing them to environments here on Earth to improve our understanding of the planet.
We can't go presently to Mars, so what we do is what's called analogue studies, where we go to landscapes in Ireland, in Africa, in Australia, and we study those desert landscapes, landscapes with dunes, landscapes with very dry, large canyons like we find on Mars. And we take that knowledge and we transfer it to other planets, Mars, Titan, other terrestrial bodies, and we try and figure out the story behind how that landscape formed. Mars is a very inhospitable environment to people right now. On a daily cycle, you might have something between 50 degrees centigrade experienced between the morning and night. We have a very thick atmosphere here relative to Mars. So we do get meteorites coming in through our atmosphere, but they tend to burn up and break up and explode close to the surface. Now we go to Mars, a very thin atmosphere. Even small meteorites, the size of a pebble, at terminal velocity, hitting anything on the ground, a human, where they live, will be basically a very extreme situation for those astronauts. And that's happening. We've documented that happening frequently now on Mars.
So severe temperatures, meteorites, anything else that might be a problem?
Absolutely. The winds are howling on Mars. And we know that there are sandstorms that engulf the entire planet. Back in 2001, there was a global sandstorm that cut off the surface of that planet from anybody being able to look through images to the surface of that planet. Mars was thought to be dormant, quite slow, almost dead planet. But now we're looking at high-resolution images and we're seeing that it's an incredibly dynamic planet. So one of the processes on Mars is that every winter they get the carbon dioxide, of which most of the atmosphere is made of, condenses out of that atmosphere because the temperatures get so low and forms a sheet of ice, carbon dioxide ice now, not water ice, on the surface of everything. As the sun begins to rise again over the horizon, you're getting some energy coming in from that sun that can penetrate through the ice and warm up the base of it. And so all that carbon dioxide starts to sublimate and pressure builds up between the bottom of the ice and the top of the sand dune. Builds up, cracks develop in the ice, and suddenly, bang, explosion of the gas and the sand that's on the sand dunes out, creating these really beautiful dark fan shapes on the surface of the dunes themselves and the surface of the ice. This is an entirely unique process, not only in terms of the fact that we don't see this on Earth, but we don't see it on any other terrestrial body in our solar system at the moment.
Despite these huge challenges, Mars, our planetary neighbor, may be able to support human life with the help of technology. While the prospect of sending people to live on the planet may sound like the script of a science fiction film, it's exactly what Mars One Foundation is intending to do. If all goes to plan, they want to train and send 4 ordinary people on an extraordinary mission to establish the first human settlement on Mars. And the person behind it all is Bas Lansdorp.
When I saw the pictures of the first Mars rover, the Sojourner rover, for some reason that I really cannot explain, I wanted to go to Mars. I'm not a US citizen, so I knew that NASA would never send me, so I basically started designing my own mission to Mars. We have a first unmanned mission planned in 2018, and we currently have aerospace titan Lockheed Martin under contract to work on that. The second mission is a rover that's going to land in 2020, driving around on the surface to find the best location for the settlement. All the hardware for the outpost is going to be sent in 2022. And when all that lands in 2023, the 2 rovers will move all that equipment to the right location, activate the life support systems, and only when all that is confirmed will the first crew depart in 2024, landing on Mars after a 7-month journey in 2025.
There's no livestock on Mars, there are no plants on Mars. It is a dusty, desolate planet. How will human beings survive there?
They will be growing their own food. It will be a mixture of plants, mushrooms, algae and insects.
This is a one-way trip.
Yeah, we prefer to call it a mission of permanent settlement because it sounds a lot nicer, but of course in practice it's the same. There is no rocket waiting on Mars. There's no Cape Canaveral on Mars to launch rockets back to Earth. And it sounds very extreme to a lot of people, but it's the only way we can do it. There is no way to land a return rocket on Mars. I don't see it happening in the next 50 years.
There's no denying it's a bold vision, and it has attracted its share of skepticism, with the technical feasibility and risk to human life being questioned. Nothing about this project is conventional, including the business plan. Mars One will fund the $6 billion mission by turning it into a TV show. Following the candidates throughout their training, the audience will ultimately decide who will represent us all as the first humans on Mars. Out of the 200,000 that signed up, 705 are now still in the running, including one Irishman, Trinity College Dublin astrophysicist Joseph Roach.
I thought it sounded like a crazy idea, and then I researched it, I studied it, and I found out it is a crazy idea. But I think that's important. Whenever you try and do something new in the field of space exploration, it's always going to seem ridiculous at first. But it's because we've never tried something like this before.
Talk us through the application process. What sort of person are they looking for?
It's a challenge for them because you need someone who they think will be capable as an astronaut, but because they have this unique funding model whereby it could become a reality TV show, they want people as well who would probably be a little bit more exciting on television, which is where my friends think I'm going to fall down. Well, it is somewhere I'm going to fall down. Yeah, well, you know, I love talking about science, but generally I probably bore people to death when I have to.
What about your family and what about your friends? What have they said about your decision to go on a one-way trip to Mars?
Yeah, well, my family are very supportive in everything I do. Obviously, it'd be upsetting for them to say goodbye to me forever, but I would still have email contact and I'll be able to keep in touch. I think when you're a scientist or even an explorer or adventurer, you have to sometimes take risks. And if we were capable, if we have the technology and we know to a reasonable level that it's going to be safe, then we have to try. And I mean, there's plenty of things that could go wrong here on Earth as well. So I think it's worth the risk.
Do you hope to go one day?
The challenge of the first crew is so big. It's the psychological challenge of being locked up with such a small group of people for such a long time. I don't even go on group holidays because it's really not my thing. So a mission to Mars in the first couple of crews is not my cup of tea. I wouldn't survive. But I definitely hope to go in one of the later missions, and I also hope to bring my family with me.
I would love to be a geologist on the surface of Mars, but currently with the technology of transport of humans to there and the survivability, not right now. Perhaps my daughter will be an astronaut who will go and live on Mars.
This is my dream, to get humanity to Mars. I would never pursue this dream if I didn't believe it was possible. It will change life as we know it. It will be one of the most profound moments in the history of mankind.